has recovered gold and a UAE residency card from Ranya Rao, who is suspected of being involved in Hawala transactions. DRI officials stated that the seized cash will be traced to determine its ownership with indications of an international syndicate. Amid the multi-agency probe, Karnataka BJP has launched an attack on the Congress government and shared a photo of Ranya Rao with Chief Minister Ranya. The BJP claims this proves the involvement of Congress ministers when it comes to the entire gold smuggling scandal.
रनिया राव केस में सही तरीके से जांच होना, कौन है उसके पीछे, बहुत बड़ा बड़ा नाम चर्चा में है, कुछ मंत्रियों का नाम भी चर्चा में है, कौन मंत्री उसके पीछे है, किसके वजह से उसके पीछे है, क्या उनको फायदा मिला है, सभी जांच होना.
See, I have just mentioned it also earlier. If at all they are thinking, it should be the central government who should be held responsible, because this is an international flight which is coming down from Dubai to Bangalore, because okay, that's a Kempegowda International Airport. So how is it they've come? So the union, the central government should be aware of all these things. So whatever they're suggesting, I think they're pointing the finger at the central government.
And I'm joined by my colleague Harish Upadhyay on the broadcast. So Harish, clearly the DRI has set out the modus operandi of this entire gold smuggling scandal. Pretty much they've pointed out to the fact that whenever Ranya Rao travelled to Dubai and came back with gold, there was a phone call that was made by senior officials to the officials on the ground who allowed her to pass, and this was happening for several months.
Well, the DRI, in fact, has recorded the statement of Basuraju, the protocol officer, and he has told the DRI that it's a regular practice for senior IPS officers to call and seek protocol privileges for their family members and relatives when they land at the Kempegowda International Airport. The same was being done for Ranya Rao, indicating that Constable Basuraju did not have any idea of the gold smuggling that was taking place. But if you look at DRI's entire argument very closely, they've detailed the entire operation. They're saying that despite a specific tip-off of Ranya Rao carrying this quantum of gold, they did not arrest her upon her arrival, not at the runway as soon as the aircraft came to a halt, not even when she entered the duty-free area or even the custom area. They waited for her to cross the green channel. There is a technicality here. If she was intercepted earlier, she still would have had an option of declaring any gold that she was carrying. She crossed the green channel. She was specifically asked if she was carrying anything that had to be declared. She said no. Only after that did the custom officials then start asking her to go through the metal detector. Then her luggage was checked. Then after she was personally frisked and scanned, that's when they found gold. Initially the gold was found in her pocket and as well as in her shoes. And later on, when the officers went for a thorough check, that's when they found gold wrapped around her inner thighs with clip bandage and other tape.
Right, and Harish, but at the same time, while the BJP is claiming that there is direct involvement of Congress ministers when it comes to this entire scandal, the question also remains that, as you're pointing out, that this was a regular practice to allow the relatives of senior IPS officers to cross the entire checking that takes place at the customs level. So clearly it seems that this entire privilege, if you will, was abused by Ranya Rao. But clearly it also indicates that this has been happening for several months altogether. Who knows what kind of nefarious activities have been taking place under the garb of this protocol privilege that senior IPS officers give their relatives.
Well, absolutely. Perhaps that's one of the main reasons now you have the Karnataka government, which has formed a committee and has also decided that it would relook at the entire list of people who can be given these protocol privileges and how that needs to be implemented and who are the ones who needs to be given. Perhaps this entire list will be trimmed down to only a bunch of very senior officers or ministers, perhaps restricting not giving that privilege to their family members or anybody who travels with them. That seems to be the idea and thinking within the government. Has to be seen the kind of report that will be given by the committee which has been tasked with this entire job now.
So clearly a jolt and an overhaul by the Congress government when it comes to these protocol privileges given by senior police officials to their relatives. I'm also joined by my colleague Sudhat on the broadcast. So Sudhat, this has also become a political flashpoint in Karnataka. The Siddaramaiah government anyway under fire on multiple fronts. But clearly the BJP pointing out that this is not just limited to senior police officials giving protocol privileges to their relatives. This goes all the way up to the Congress government under Siddaramaiah.
Yes, even as the BJP still faces charge of they having allocated 12 acres of land, 12 acres of KIDB sites, industrial sites to Ranya Rao in a very quick span, when it was just the request was placed in 2022 and she was given the land in 2023. While we do hear that it was never officially handed over because she could not remit the payment, still the Congress also is trying to question the BJP in this regard about how exactly they handed over the KIDB sites to her, how they approved these sites to her when she was such a smuggler, or whether there was any kind of links that the BJP had at all with Ranya Rao. But the BJP seems to be upping its ante from the past few days, saying that clearly there are two ministers that are involved in this. They even shared a picture allegedly of Ranya Rao's wedding where Home Minister Parameshwara and CM Siddaramaiah were present. They believe this is proof enough of the fact that somewhere at the top, ministers too are involved in this entire nexus, in this entire smuggling fiasco. They have in fact supported Ranya Rao, is what the BJP is alleging. They are upping their ante. They feel, the probe also that has been ordered into the CID to carry out a probe into the dereliction of duty from personnel, and a government inquiry that has also been ordered by IAS officer Gaurav Gupta. This is all in a bid to just cover up the fact that ministers are actually involved in this entire matter. The BJP continues to believe there is support at the very top, and that's why she could get all the protocol privileges that is generally reserved for top bureaucrats and officers.
Absolutely. Sudhir, please stay with us, because staying with Karnataka, this isn't the only flashpoint between the BJP and the Congress. Now, chaos erupted in the Karnataka Assembly after the BJP and the JDS demanded the scrapping of the Guarantees Implementation Committee that was formed last year to oversee the implementation of the 5 guarantee schemes which propelled the Congress to power in Karnataka. The panel, headed by former Minister H.M. Revanna, that was formed last year and constitutes Congress workers heading committees at the state, taluk and district levels. The BJP staged protests in contention with this guarantees committee, but the Congress continues to defend the move. The BJP claims there's no need for the state to fund the salaries of Congress workers working to implement the election guarantees.
We have not formed this guarantee implementation committee today. The Congress party has given power. We have 138 plus 2, 140 seats in the assembly. We have not appointed today. We have appointed from the day we started implementing our programs, 5 guarantees. We have formed a guarantee implementation committee from the state to the assembly level. They are doing their job for the poor. This guarantee is for all sections of the society who have been deprived and who have been affected on the price rise. We want to see that every family is being protected. So for the fair implementation, we have appointed our cadres, all political parties.
This is a big scandal of Karnataka state government, because they are transferring the more than 60 crores of money to the Congress people. This is the taxpayers' amount. Poor people given the tax to the government, but they are transferring the Congress party workers directly in the assembly. DK Shimar tell, yes, they are working for the Congress party. That's why I am giving. This is the money not belongs to Congress. If they want money, beg any street. They have to beg. Then they can give Congress party workers. This is the money belongs to poor taxpayers' money, people of Karnataka.
Lot of objections have been raised by the BJP in this regard, saying that why should there be salaried party workers to take care of this when there are MLAs and MPs? How do you react to this?
Oh, this is not the first time, because the implementation committee is constituted for the how it is going on. It has to be moved around villages everywhere, and they want to conduct the meetings. For that we have allocated. The government has taken a decision to implement this as a good program, because this program is followed by many states now. First we started. This is first everybody says that Gujarat Bada panel. Now it has come to know that it is a Karnataka this one. But remuneration giving or not giving is different. The committee has got the good work. They have to look after the government programs to be implemented in a proper way. The program should be reached to the local corner of the last person of the society. For that it
Sir,
has
but then why are party workers need to be paid when there are MLAs and MPs and everyone present? Why should there, when all other welfare schemes are implemented separately by the respected local representatives, why should there be a separate committee in place to implement this? That is the question being asked.
I came to know, but you have to look back. Previous 20-point program committee was there in the Devaraja's time. To this one land grant committee and other committees. For that also sitting fees was given. For many committees, sitting fees have been given to the members. Likewise only, but it is probably in a bigger way. It is questionable, but let us see.
And Sudat continues to be with us on the broadcast. Sudat, you just had that conversation with H.M. Revanna and he clearly didn't answer that question when you asked him about why is there a need for a separate committee to implement the guarantees, something that propelled the Congress to power in Karnataka. Now, the Congress government under Siddaramaiah is facing heat from the Muda scam. You're facing heat from the Valmiki scam, which Siddaramaiah himself admitted inside the assembly that there was corruption in the Valmiki scam. Then there is the quota storm when it comes to 4% Muslim quota. Now, on top of all of this, to have a committee, and the BJP claims 60 crore is being funneled into that committee to Congress workers to implement something the Congress guaranteed. This will not go down well with the voters of Karnataka, and clearly the BJP upping the ante against Siddaramaiah.
Yes, while this entire panel to oversee the implementation of the guarantees was constituted last year, the chaos erupted in the assembly after one of the JDS MLAs, MT Krishnappa, questioned how much salary was actually being given to all these office bearers, part of the guarantees implementation committee. DK Shukumar answered that 40,000 was being paid for district level committee chiefs, for taluk level committee chiefs there was 25,000, and for various office bearer members who attended meetings, they used to receive anywhere from 1,000 to 1,200 rupees is what he answered in the assembly. The BJP alleges that 30 additional crores is being used to pay the salaries for these committee bearers, for these office bearers. Their question is, why should there be any form of money from the exchequer that is to be used as salaries for these Congress party workers when it is a party scheme? They feel that the party should bear the expenses and taxpayers' money should not be wasted on paying a separate salary. The second question that the BJP is really asking is, when there are elected representatives like MPs, MLAs, there are also IAS officers, KS officers and other bureaucrats to oversee the implementation of various other welfare schemes, why should there be any form of exclusive committee to oversee the Congress guarantees? This is the question that the BJP is asking. They have also submitted a memorandum to the Karnataka governor in this very regard. They believe that this should be dissolved in the earliest. They have sought that the governor should immediately intervene and dissolve the Guarantees Implementation Commission. So the BJP is clearly ensuring they perhaps want to bring this to the logical end to see that the Guarantees Implementation Committee is dissolved at the earliest. But the Congress continues to defend it, saying that since this is a flagship scheme and that they want to recognize party workers who work hard, they are paying a nominal fee, a nominal salary, and ensuring that the guarantees go to every nook and corner of Karnataka. But questions of course still remain about when there is such a huge system in place to oversee the guarantees, why do we still see stalled payments? This is something that still remains as a question.
Absolutely. So the government was elected to implement the 5 guarantees. The big question being raised, why is there a need for a separate committee to implement those guarantees at the ground level, given the problems the 5 guarantees have faced on the ground when it comes to their rollout? So this is another flashpoint in Karnataka, ladies and gentlemen. The Siddaramaiah government under fire once again. Let's listen in to more reactions coming in.
Chief Minister Siddaramaiah has appointed Guarantee Implementation Committee chairmen across the state. State level chairman has been appointed and has been given cabinet status. And chairman is appointed at the district level and also at the taluk level. So Bharatiya Janata Party and JDS, we have opposed this move because it's already been implemented. One, we are opposing because they have been paid salaries. The taxpayers' money has been misutilized by Siddaramaiah government. They are paying salaries to the chairmen guarantee implementation chairman. Office has been given, staff has been accommodated.
We are spending 60,000 crore rupees to directly help people in distress through the Congress guarantees so that we revive the economy. And last 2 years, we have seen that our GSDP is progressing at much higher rate than the average GDP of the country. So that is the result of the Congress guarantee schemes we are implementing in the state. Your lecturing us is not right, is not my observation.
And shifting focus to Maharashtra now, where State Minister Nitesh Rane has stoked a controversy by announcing the Malhar certification for mutton shops selling jhatka meat operated by Hindus. Rane is urging Hindus to purchase from Malhar certified shops, claiming it guarantees no adulteration. The initiative, launched online, does not have official government approval and is positioned as an alternative to halal certification. The minister urged Hindus to not buy mutton from shops which don't have Malhar certification. The website further states that via Malhar certification, the meat is fresh, clean and not mixed with any other animal meat. The Congress, meanwhile, has accused the minister of raising communal tensions.
झटका मटन ये हमारे हिंदुत्ववादी विचार के सोच के कार्यकर्ताओं ने साथ में आके हिंदू समाज के लिए अपने हक का और स्वास्थ्य का एक अच्छा मटन का पर्याय लेके आए हैं। हलाल ही खाना चाहिए, ये जो कोई जोर जबरदस्ती सालों साल हो रही है। झटका मटन खाइए, जो हलाल नहीं होगा। अभी हलाल खाना ये हिंदू धर्मों में लिखा नहीं है, ये इस्लाम धर्म में लिखा है। तो इसलिए ऐसा अगर कोई अच्छा पर्याय लेके आ रहा है तो उसको पाठिंबा सपोर्ट देने का काम मैं मेरे माध्यम से कर रहा हूँ, जिसके वजह से हिंदू समाज के लड़कों को, युवाओं को दो हाथों का अगर काम मिल रहा होगा, जो कटिक हिंदू समाज के हमारे तो युवा है, तो अच्छी बात है ना।
काय सांगितलं की मी दोन्ही बाजूच्या सन्माननीय सदस्यांनी कुठल्याही वक्तव्यामुळे कायदा सुव्यवस्था अडचणीत येणार नाही ह्याबद्दलची काळजी घेतली पाहिजे। आणि जे आपले म्हणजे ज्यांना देशाच्या बद्दल एक प्रेम आहे असा मुस्लिम समाज मोठ्या प्रमाणावर आपल्या भारतात आहे, आपल्या महाराष्ट्रात आहे। आणि त्याच्यामुळे इतिहास आपण जर वाचला, इतिहासात अनेक मोठ्या मोठ्या लोकांनी जी काही पुस्तकं लिहिली आहे, इतिहासाचं संशोधन केलेलं आहे, इतिहासाची माहिती मिळवलेली आहे, खोलवर जाऊन मिळवलेली आहे, त्या सगळ्यात आहे ना छत्रपती शिवाजी महाराजांनी त्यांच्याबरोबर जे काही लोक होते त्याच्यामध्ये मुस्लिम लोक देखील होते। दारुगोळा कोण सांभाळत होतं त्यांचा कितीतरी उदाहरणं आपल्याला देता येतील।
मुख्यमंत्री का जवाब मैं सुन रहा था। मुख्यमंत्री ने कहा कि जो भी बड़े आवाज में स्पीकर चलते हैं ऐसे स्पीकरों के ऊपर कार्रवाई करना चाहिए। आखिरी माननीय सुप्रीम कोर्ट का भी इसमें निर्देश है और सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने यह कहा कि कोई एक धर्म के बारे में नहीं कहा है, उन्हें सभी को हिदायत दी है। तो मुझे लगता है कि इसको एक धर्म के साथ ना जोड़ा जाए। ये कोई भी है कि जो हमारे कानून है, हमारे नियम है, उसके आधार पर सबने इस तरह का स्पीकर का आवाज करना चाहिए। इसमें किसी का दुमत नहीं होने का कारण है।
राजेंद्र जी, ये बताइए कि जो मल्हार सर्टिफिकेट का इश्यू है, जो मल्हार वर्ड यूज हो रहा है, उसको क्या लेके आप लोग का ऑब्जेक्शन है?
देखो, महाराष्ट्र में मल्हार ये शब्द का बहुत ऊर्जादायी शब्द है। ये महाराष्ट्र का आस्था का विषय है। मल्हार यानी खंडोबा देवता, यानी ये शिवजी का अवतार है। जैसे मार्तंड भैरव है, जैसे काल भैरव है, ऐसे ही है हमारे मार्तंड भैरव देवता है। और ये जो कुलदेवत है, महाराष्ट्र की नहीं, बहुत से पूरे देश भर की कुलदेवता है। पूरे देश भर में ये मंदिर है। ऐसे सिचुएशन में खुद खंडोबा देवता यानी शिवजी मांसाहार नहीं करते, शाकाहारी देवता है। हमारे मार्तंड भैरव को खाली पूरनपोली चलता है और बैंगन चलता है। और दूसरी बात ऐसी, ये पशुओं पे प्यार करने वाली देवता है। जो हमारे गर्भगृह में भी घोड़ा हो, कुत्ता हो, गाय हो, इसका हर रोज पूजन होता है। और ऐसे समय ही किसी मांसाहार प्रोजेक्ट के लिए उन्होंने हलाल शब्द इस्तेमाल किया, इसलिए हम मल्हार शब्द इस्तेमाल करना ये गलत है। मल्हार शब्द हमारे लिए बहुत पवित्र है, आस्था का विषय है। किसी भी मांसाहार प्रोजेक्ट को ऐसा नाम देना, भगवान हिंदू देवता का नाम देना, ये गलत है। ऐसे मैंने नीतीश राणे जी से बात किया।
So politics over meat, this time in the state of Maharashtra. We will continue to track all the developments coming in. For now, a quick break. More news and updates on the other side.
जहाज में बड़ी बड़ी
Ukraine on Tuesday agreed to accept a U.S. proposal for an immediate 30-day ceasefire in the conflict with Russia. U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio announced the agreement after more than 8 hours of talks between Ukrainian and U.S. officials in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia.
Today we made an offer that the Ukrainians have accepted, which is to enter into a ceasefire and into immediate negotiations to end this conflict in a way that's enduring and sustainable and accounts for their interests, their security, their ability to prosper as a nation.
Rubio said he would now take the offer to Moscow.
And we hope that they'll say yes to peace. The ball is now in their court.
The development comes after a stunning Oval Office shouting match between the presidents of the two countries.
You're gambling with World War III.
The rift had immediate repercussions for Ukraine. President Donald Trump canceled military support and ended crucial intelligence sharing. But as part of accepting the proposed ceasefire, National Security Advisor Mike Waltz said Washington will resume sharing aid and intelligence with Kyiv.
And that's effective immediately.
Outside the White House, Trump said there would be a U.S. meeting with Russia to discuss the ceasefire plan soon.
Hopefully President Putin will agree to that also, and we can get this show on the road. I think it's a big difference between the last visit you saw at the Oval Office and this. So that's a total ceasefire. Ukraine has agreed to it, and hopefully Russia will agree to it. We're going to meet with them later on today and tomorrow, and hopefully we'll be able to wipe out a deal. If we can't, we just keep going on and people are going to get killed, lots of people.
Is Zelensky invited back to the White House?
Sure, absolutely.
Later, Russia's foreign ministry said it didn't rule out contacts with U.S. representatives over the next several days, according to state news agency RIA. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, who was in Saudi Arabia but did not participate in the talks, said the ceasefire was a positive proposal.
Вважаємо це позитивним.
He also said the two countries would work to finalize a minerals agreement.
І дійсно там прописано, що Україна готова прийняти у разі, якщо Росія буде згодна на це, зробити як перший крок перемир'я на 30 днів для того, щоб почати дійсно готувати якийсь вже більш важливий документ, готувати перемовини. Американські партнери будуть вже говорити з російською стороною про те, що ось, будь ласка, є можливість для того, щоб рухатися вперед, якщо дійсно Росія готова до цього, а це буде очевидно. І сьогодні, після цієї зустрічі, 100% сьогодні ключ, як навіть написано у спільній заяві, ключ сьогодні саме у російської сторони. Так, ця угода, вона буде підписана. Ви знаєте, що вона є рамочною. Після цього команди почнуть вже працювати над більш детальним документом. Сьогодні в цій заяві ми просто підтвердили наміри двох сторін, двох президентів, для того, щоб це дійсно сталося. Ми дуже цінуємо лідерство президента Трампа. Ми вважаємо, що Сполучені Штати саме та країна, яка може сьогодні зробити все для того, щоб цей справедливий мир настав. Вони мають ці важелі.
І сьогодні в розмові була пропозиція саме американської сторони зробити перший крок одразу далі. І на 30 днів спробувати встановити повне припинення вогню. Не тільки щодо ракет, дронів і бомб, не тільки у Чорному морі, а також по всій лінії фронту. Україна сприймає цю пропозицію Ми вважаємо це позитивним. Ми готові зробити такий крок. Американська сторона розуміє наші аргументи, сприймає наші пропозиції. І я хочу подякувати президенту Трампу за конструктивність розмови наших команд.
But very importantly, and I said it, Ukraine, ceasefire. Ukraine, ceasefire. Just agreed to a little while ago. Now we have to go to Russia and hopefully President Putin will agree to that also, and we can get this show on the road. We can get this horrible war where 2,000-3,000 soldiers a week, every week, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 sometimes. I get the reports, and they're not American soldiers. They're Ukrainian and they're Russian. But people are being killed outside of that. People are being killed in the cities as things explode throughout the cities. And we want to get that war over with. So I think it's a very big, I think it's a big difference between the last visit you saw at the Oval Office and the soap. That's a total ceasefire. Ukraine has agreed to it, and hopefully Russia will agree to it. We're going to meet with them later on today and tomorrow, and hopefully we'll be able to wipe out a deal. But I think the ceasefire is very important. If we can get Russia to do it, that'll be great. If we can't, we just keep going on and people are going to get killed, lots of people.
Is Zelensky invited back to the White House?
Sure, absolutely.
And welcome back to the Nation at 5 with me, Ayushman Singh Jamwal. Shifting focus to some international news and the chaos surrounding Donald Trump's tariff war. Now the US president has halted a plan to double US tariffs on Canadian steel and metal imports to 50% just hours after first announcing the plan. Tariffs at 25% are still going ahead and will take effect from the 12th of March. The move comes after the Canadian province of Ontario suspended its order to levy a 25% surcharge on electricity that it sends to some northern states in the United States. Meanwhile, just days after US President Donald Trump said that India has agreed to cut tariffs, Commerce Secretary Sunil Barthwal informed the Parliamentary Standing Committee on External Affairs that negotiations between the two nations are still on and no agreement has been reached so far. Now, amid Trump's trade war, Blackstone CEO Stephen Schwarzman has said that tariff changes are a short-term phenomena, is the pitch that's come in from the Blackstone CEO. He has said that the world will adjust to the shift in tariffs.
The narrative which is dominating the airwaves, as it were, is the disruption or the uncertainty caused by tariffs going up and down. What are your views on that?
I think it's pretty clear that there's been a change, and that tariffs are on the table. The reason for that is the prospect of countries having equal access to each other, which is a good theory of the case. And so it'll take a while for that to work its way through. But I think the world will be able to absorb those types of changes, and then we'll move on. There'll be some period of uncertainty, which is what's prompting your question, which should affect markets over the short term. But I think this is a short-term phenomena. There are all kinds of adjustments that occur were tariffs to be applied to a country, currencies get weaker, there's shared cost between people who make goods, people who buy goods, and the system should accommodate all of that.
What would you advise India's political leadership to do when they approach negotiations with President Trump's administration?
Well, let's just start out. I'm not a government official.
No, of course.
I'm just
we're very clear about that.
Somebody who knows almost all the people involved with these types of things. First of all, Prime Minister Modi and the President had a very good meeting, which is a great start, and they agreed to have a trade agreement between the two countries. And they also made some other mutual understandings, evidently, at that meeting. And so I think that the baseline for India seems to me to be very good. There's a good relationship with the two principals. There's a lot in common. There's a favorable attitude, each country to the other one. And I think you just sort of start with a discussion. Evidently, there's already been a number of adjustments that the two countries have made. So I know there's always a high level of anxiety when anybody brings this subject up. But I think the quality of your leadership in India and the ability to reach agreements should be very good.
Is there a number that you can give us to our viewers in terms of how this number can go up? Can 5% become 10% or 15%, and over what kind of period of time?
Well, it's great to be back in India. When we decided to come here, we announced that we would put $1 billion in India. And people here probably forget that 20 years ago that was a huge number. And we were on the front pages of all the newspapers. And now, as you say, we're many times what we expected to be, because the country is such a great place to operate. India happens to be our #1 performing market in the world for Blackstone. Our returns here on a gross basis are somewhere around 40%.
You're talking about 100 billion of assets under management in India over, that is, if you were to double that number.
No, you gave us the right number, and we think we can grow to $100 billion.
There is the China +1 strategy which most MNCs are following. Blackstone has a presence across a wide range of industries. Now, India fancies itself as the +1, although there are competitors like Vietnam, most prominently, perhaps Indonesia as well. Do you see India's name coming up as a possible substitute for China when it comes to global supply chains?
Well, I think it's been a difficult time period for China. They will go through some adjustments as well to their benefit. But at the moment, India became, sort of top of mind for the business community as an alternative, and that's a great opportunity for India. I think it's important that India capitalize on that opportunity. It's got sort of low-cost labor, smart people.
And shifting focus to Pakistan, where a passenger train was hijacked by the Balochistan Liberation Army, which claims over 200 passengers are hostages and at least 30 security personnel have been killed. The BLA has also threatened to execute all hostages if security forces don't retreat. Meanwhile, CNN News 18 spoke to Baloch activist Abdul Qadir, who claimed that at least 150 Pakistan Army personnel have been killed by the BLA. Pakistani security forces, Cobra helicopters and jets have been deployed in Dhadar for the counter-insurgency operations, while a relief train has been dispatched to the Jafar Express attack site. And this is a CNN News 18 mega exclusive, ladies and gentlemen. What we are learning is that Pakistan intelligence sources have told CNN News 18 that Baloch forces have now developed a well-knit intelligence system. They have mirrored state intelligence agencies in human operations as well as cyber intelligence infrastructure. They also have a hierarchical structure with specific roles that they have been able to develop inside the Baloch Liberation Army. The BLA also has an intelligence wing called Zirab for gathering and analyzing intelligence. That is the big piece of breaking news that's coming in, and several experts have pointed this out, that the BLA has been able to get together several factions and launch this concerted strikes against the Pakistani state, especially targeting the Jafar Express and eliminating several members of the Pakistan security infrastructure. But clearly it seems, and you can see those visuals on your screen where we are getting the visuals of the attack site where the Jafar Express was ambushed by the Balochistan Liberation Army. But clearly, as several experts have pointed out, they have been able to get together the different factions of the Baloch forces to take on the Pakistani state. I'm joined by my colleague Anand Narasimhan on the broadcast. So Anand, clearly, as several experts have been pointing out, and our investigations editor Manoj Gupta, security editor Manoj Gupta has been able to point out through top sources in the Pakistan government that clearly an intelligence network has been developed by the BLA to pull off such a daring attack against the Pakistani state.
BLA has pulled out, good evening Ayushman, and to our viewers, the BLA has such a strong intelligence network right under the very noses of the Pak ISI and the entire Pak military establishment, and it's global embarrassment for Pakistan. But this is what we are able to glean, that the BLA has perhaps matched its most ambitious operation till date. That was the Darai Bolan in 2024, where they wanted to seize control of the strategic urban center, Mak City, and also the surrounding areas in Bolan, where what they were able to do is show that they can not just coordinate, they can coordinate, command, operate, and then seize control and retain control. Now, so this was no longer, so the evolution of the BLA is also seen here. Zirab, Majid Brigade, and the Special Tactical Operations Squad, or the Statos. Now, they all of them were put into play here, and all of them were coordinated. It's a coordinated operation. Now, Zirab is Zephyr Intelligence Research and Analysis Bureau that consists of professionals like researchers, informers, IT experts, data analysts, and investigators. So these are seasoned people who understand tech, who can also glean and coordinate, plan, and they can also give operational intelligence and inputs, and overall prepare an operational schematic of how to execute a certain operation. And that's the level of preparedness with which they have come. And then there are groups like the Majid Brigade, the Special Tactical Operations Squad, and they've also put into play the Fateh Squad. Now, these are all highly trained cadre for specific particular jobs, and that's how the Jafar Express has now been controlled. Now, the Zirab apparently has done all the groundwork. They have even been able to outsmart, outwit, and keep the entire Pakistan military and intelligence machinery in the dark about this operation. And they've been able to coordinate all their resources. So, if you were to look at what they did in 2024, 2025 seems to be that they have further perfected what they were able to achieve in 2024. And this is serious concerns for the Pakistanis, because the Chinese are watching. The Chinese footprint in Balochistan has been increasing, and the Chinese have been increasingly nervous about the safety of their cadre, their engineers and their people under the CPEC project, or even those who are coming there to explore and excavate rare earth minerals in Balochistan. And they may just now back off, or they may insist on Pakistan perhaps ceding more territory or allowing Chinese boots on ground. either of which is going to be huge problems for both the Shehbaz Sharif-led government and also the current military establishment. One of the biggest demands for the Baloch is they want the Chinese out of Balochistan, and they want the Pakistani military to free. So thousands of the Balochis who are still under their captivity or who have gone missing. But most importantly, they are concerned that Pakistan is quietly ceding territory, Baloch territory, to the Chinese. So all of these factors will also have to be now taken into account.
Absolutely. The BLA now posing a new and significant challenge to the Pakistani state. Thank you, Anand, for joining us on the broadcast with that piece of breaking news. We will continue to track all the developments coming in as the situation continues to unfold in Balochistan. For now, quick break, more news and updates on the other side.
Ukraine on Tuesday agreed to accept a U.S. proposal for an immediate 30-day ceasefire in the conflict with Russia. U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio announced the agreement after more than 8 hours of talks between Ukrainian and U.S. officials in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia.
Today we made an offer that the Ukrainians have accepted, which is to enter into a ceasefire and into immediate negotiations to end this conflict in a way that's enduring and sustainable and accounts for their interests, their security, their ability to prosper as a nation.
Rubio said he would now take the offer to Moscow.
And we hope that they'll say yes, to peace. The ball is now in their court.
The development comes after a stunning Oval Office shouting match between the presidents of the two countries.
You're gambling with World War III.
The rift had immediate repercussions for Ukraine. President Donald Trump canceled military support and ended crucial intelligence sharing. But as part of accepting the proposed ceasefire, National Security Advisor Mike Waltz said Washington will resume sharing aid and intelligence with Kyiv.
And that's effective immediately.
Outside the White House, Trump said there would be a U.S. meeting with Russia to discuss the ceasefire plan soon.
Hopefully President Putin will agree to that also, and we can get this show on the road. I think it's a big difference between the last visit you saw at the Oval Office and this. So that's a total ceasefire. Ukraine has agreed to it, and hopefully Russia will agree to it. We're going to meet with them later on today and tomorrow, and hopefully we'll be able to wipe out a deal. If we can't, we just keep going on and people are going to get killed, lots of people.
Is Zelensky invited back to the White House?
Sure, absolutely.
Later, Russia's foreign ministry said it didn't rule out contacts with U.S. representatives over the next several days, according to state news agency RIA. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, who was in Saudi Arabia but did not participate in the talks, said the ceasefire was a positive proposal.
Вважаємо це позитивним.
He also said the two countries would work to finalize a minerals agreement.
І дійсно там прописано, що Україна готова прийняти, у разі, якщо Росія буде згодна на це, зробити як перший крок перемир'я на 30 днів для того, щоб почати дійсно готувати якийсь вже більш важливий документ, готувати перемовини. Американські партнери будуть вже говорити з російською стороною про те, що ось, будь ласка, є можливість для того, щоб рухатися вперед, якщо дійсно Росія готова до цього, а це буде очевидно. І сьогодні, після цієї зустрічі, 100% сьогодні ключ, як навіть написано у спільній заяві, ключ сьогодні саме у російської сторони. Так, ця угода, вона буде підписана. Ви знаєте, що вона є рамочною. Після цього команди почнуть вже працювати над більш детальним документом. Сьогодні в цій заяві ми просто підтвердили наміри двох сторін, двох президентів, для того, щоб це дійсно сталося. Ми дуже цінуємо лідерство президента Трампа. Ми вважаємо, що Сполучені Штати саме та країна, яка може сьогодні зробити все для того, щоб цей справедливий мир настав. Вони мають ці важелі.
І сьогодні в розмові була пропозиція саме американської сторони зробити перший крок одразу далі. І на 30 днів спробувати встановити повне припинення вогню. Не тільки щодо ракет, дронів і бомб, не тільки у Чорному морі, а також по всій лінії фронту. Україна сприймає цю пропозицію. Ми вважаємо це позитивним. Ми готові зробити такий крок. Американська сторона розуміє наші аргументи, сприймає наші пропозиції. І я хочу подякувати президенту Трампу за конструктивність розмови наших команд.
But very importantly, and I said it, Ukraine, ceasefire. Ukraine, ceasefire. Just agreed to a little while ago. Now we have to go to Russia and hopefully President Putin will agree to that also, and we can get this show on the road. We can get this horrible war where 2,000-3,000 soldiers a week, every week, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 sometimes. I get the reports. And they're not American soldiers. They're Ukrainian and they're Russian. But people are being killed outside of that. People are being killed in the cities as things explode throughout the cities. And we want to get that war over with. So I think it's a very big, I think it's a big difference between the last visit you saw at the Oval Office and the soap. That's a total ceasefire. Ukraine has agreed to it. And hopefully Russia will agree to it. We're going to meet with them later on today and tomorrow, and hopefully we'll be able to wipe out a deal. But I think the ceasefire is very important. If we can get Russia to do it, that'll be great. If we can't, we just keep going on and people are going to get killed, lots of people.
Is Zelensky invited back to the White House?
Sure, absolutely.
And welcome back to the Nation at 5 with me, Ayushman Singh Jamwal. Shifting focus down south, controversy continues in Tamil Nadu over the new education policy, where Union Education Minister Dharmendra Pradhan has made public a letter from the Tamil Nadu Chief Secretary expressing keen interest in establishing PM Shri schools in the state. Pradhan alleged that the state government made a U-turn and accused the DMK of playing politics ahead of next year's assembly elections. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman has also attacked the DMK, saying that the party must refrain from talking about Tamil Nadu's culture as its members once insulted Jayalalitha inside the assembly. Now, responding to Pradhan's allegations, the Tamil Nadu Education Minister has said that the DMK never backed the national education policy, further accusing Pradhan of spreading misinformation. The DMK has made Hindi imposition a major issue in parliament, but the BJP says the usage of Tamil has decreased in the state under the DMK. The Stalin government, meanwhile, has called for a public meeting against the union government under the title Tamil Nadu will fight, Tamil Nadu will win.
एक ही स्ट्रोक में इस बार बजट में निर्णय हुआ है, देश में जितने सेकेंडरी स्कूल्स हैं, सभी सेकेंडरी स्कूल में ब्रॉडबैंड की इंटरनेट कनेक्टिविटी लगाया जाएगा। इसके लिए भारत नेट को काम दे दिया गया है, भारत नेट उसके काम शुरू कर दिया। इस देश की जनता ने हमें स्वीकृति दिया है। हम उस सारे मुद्दे को लेकर जनता के पास गए थे, एक बार नहीं 3 बार गए हैं। जनता ने हमें आशीर्वाद दिया है। हम किसी भी विषय किसी के ऊपर लादना नहीं चाहेंगे। आज जो एक विषय लिपि में कहा गया है भाषा के बारे में, आज मैं कहूं भारत एक बहुभाषी देश है। भाषा को लेकर क्या चर्चा हुई थी, क्या कॉन्सेंसस बनी थी, कैसे हम आगे बढ़े, मैं इसीलिए बड़ा इमोशनल होकर कहता हूं, मेरे को पिछले 24 घंटा में बहुत सुनना पड़ा। मैं इस देश की पहला भाषा आधारित प्रशासनिक इकाई का सुपुत्र हूं, उड़िया आदमी हूं। हम कहां फंसे हैं? क्या कोई अधिकार बात, किसी के अधिकार हनने के लिए, किसी को आहत करने के लिए भाषा को उपयोग करेंगे? कम से कम नरेंद्र मोदी जी की सरकार यह पाप न कभी किया है, न आने वाले दिनों में करेगा।
People are hacked in the middle of the road. 28 cases of honor killing has happened in Tamil Nadu. That's the Dravidian model. And they are telling us, don't preach to us. And they worship a person who called Tamil a Kattumurandi Bhasha. Kattumurandi Muri, barbaric language. The person who said that is the person who they worship. And here they say this even to an educated and honest Minister of Education. Sexual assault on a 9-year-old school child in Trichy. What action has been taken? Honorable members telling us don't preach us on Kalachara, Panbadu. Is that the Dravidian model?
And I'm joined by my colleague Pallavi Ghosh on the broadcast. So Pallavi, even though the centre has been giving very factual responses to the DMK, Stalin is not shifting from his political plan to oppose the national education policy as a plot to impose Hindi in Tamil Nadu.
Ayushman, there are political compulsions why the DMK and the Chief Minister Stalin will not give up on this issue, and I think that over the next 1 year you can see them relentlessly making this a larger poll issue. That is because Tamil Nadu goes to vote. For over 50 years, the legacy and the kind of politics we've seen in Tamil Nadu has been whipping up the Dravidian feeling, to talk about Tamilian pride, culture, and of course having an anti-North kind of a stance. Particularly the BJP, which according to a DMK is largely a North-based party, and they are being accused by MK Stalin and the DMK of imposing their culture as far as Tamil Nadu is concerned. So it begins with education in this case. The NEP is something which has been outrightly rejected, despite all the clarifications coming in from the education minister, from the government, that look, we are not forcing your way. It's an option which needs to be exercised. It's up to the people. When you enroll yourself for the PM Shri program, it also meant that you are going to accept the NEP policy in toto, which of course has been completely rejected by the DMK. Nirmala Sitharaman was fielded politically speaking because she was actually talking about a demand for grant for Manipur or the Manipur budget as it's called, Ayushman, but she kept a lot of focus going on her speech, on Tamil Nadu, sporadically breaking into Hindi, into Tamil, to make the point that I may be a Tamilian, but I also speak Hindi and no one is forcing me to do so. And also trying to show the mirror to a DMK of double standards. So I suspect that DMK, which is facing an anti-incumbency, a rising AIA-DMK, a BJP breathing down their back, the rise of actor Vijay possibly is going to be a threat to them, or a competition to them rather. I think the DMK would certainly use a Tamilian pride as a big poll issue for the assembly elections next year.
Absolutely, and a scathing counter coming in from Dharmendra Pradhan as well as Union Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman. But the counter also coming in from the DMK. Let's listen in to what DMK MP Kanimoi had to say.
The BJP government has made it everyday occurrence to insult Tamil Nadu, insult the opposition leaders. Today, in the evening, the LOP was insulted. Yesterday, Tamil Nadu people and the members of parliament were insulted. A minister called as uncivilized. And today, again, the finance minister, in her reply, she's dedicated one entire portion of her reply just for Tamil Nadu and to insult Tamil Nadu and our chief minister.
And shifting focus to the world of tech, Elon Musk's advanced satellite technology Starlink is finally coming to India in collaboration with Airtel and Jio. Both will make the service accessible through their established retail networks across the country. CNBC TV 18's Ashmit Kumar gets us this report.
Well, in the last few years, our social media feeds are full of Elon Musk's SpaceX rockets taking off and landing, making for fascinating visuals. But ever wondered, what exactly were they shooting up in space? Well, the answer, a web of over 6,000 satellites to connect the entire world with the internet. And in the last 24 hours, Musk has announced his first major step towards bringing that constellation to India. Musk's SpaceX-backed Starlink has inked agreements with world's largest telecom network, Jio Platforms, and its largest competitor, Airtel. Last evening, Airtel announced the partnership with Starlink, and just hours later this morning, Jio made the big reveal. The two telecom behemoths who once looked at SpaceX as a competitor have now opted for a hybrid approach to bring the terrestrial and satellite networks together. Now, Starlink's agreement with Jio and Airtel seems to be configured towards penetration of the Indian market using the vast distribution network and on-ground presence of both the telecom bellwethers. Now, Jio Platforms in its release has proposed offering Starlink solutions through its online and brick-and-mortar stores. Other than equipment, Jio also expressed willingness to provide installation, activation and customer support solutions to Starlink users via its network. Similarly, Airtel has proposed to offer Starlink equipment in its stores. Airtel has also proposed exploring how Starlink can use Airtel's network. Additionally, Airtel is also keen on exploring how it can offer Starlink's bevy of enterprise solutions to its own business customers and communities. So how exactly does Starlink work? How is Starlink different? Well, broadly speaking, a terrestrial network works by connecting your mobile device to the local telecom towers. We've seen lakhs and lakhs of them around our homes, around our workplaces. Now, Satcom works a little differently. It has no towers. Instead, Satcom players like Starlink deploy a web of low Earth orbit or LEO satellites. Now, users of Starlink can buy a dish for their home or business. This dish will then use airwaves for transferring data and providing internet connectivity directly via the satellite.
Good evening, you're watching Plain Speak with me, Poonam Burde. It's been approximately 28 hours since the Balochistan Liberation Army insurgents stopped a long-distance train in a rugged and mountainous area south of Quetta. They took passengers hostage. So far, 190 of them out of the 400 that were on board that particular train are out of this Baloch rebel army's clutches. While the BLA says that they have released them as a sign or a gesture of humanity, the Pakistani army says that it was the military operation that ensured safety for these passengers. The operation also resulted in the death of 30 Baloch rebels as per the Pakistan administration. As per the Baloch